Breaking the Casbah and taking the flag. The genie's out of the bottle and we can't put it back. I'm in stuff that's overwhelming my brain. Can you see the storm coming? It's coming its way. I don't know much, I don't know too much, but I know this is out.
All right, we are back. And we are now joined by one of the admins on the forums, JT Coyote. I'm not sure what to call him. I didn't know whether that was his moniker or not. What should I call you? JT Coyote? JT Coyote?
Oh, heck, you can call me Coyote if you want. my old friends call me Coyote, and the newer ones call me JT.
All right.
And we won't tell you what the real old ones call me.
All right, we're going to get to how you started into helping us out over at Prison Planet InfoWars in a second, but I want to finish up with this caller and what was said on this speech. Go ahead, Don.
Yeah, and also today, well, he was also talking about guns, you know, how they got troll guns, and he said 90% of the guns that they find in Mexico come from the U.S. But earlier today on Fox, they was interviewing some lady, I'm not sure who she was, and they was saying, 90% of the guns. And she goes, no, that's not true. She said only 14% of the guns that they found actually come from the U.S. And she goes, and by the way, you can't buy rocket launchers, grenades, and explosives at gun shows.
Well, all good points, and I will watch that speech probably tomorrow afternoon. I thank you for the call, Don. Yes, all right. So, JT, how do you get involved in this type of information and this movement, first off, and then how you get involved with Prison Planet and InfoWars?
Well, it's interesting, Jason. Back about 12, 15 years ago, I was involved in a very similar movement to what you and Alex are involved in. Mm-hmm. It was the birth of the 10th Amendment resolution movement here in Colorado. Mm-hmm. And I was involved in radio, and it was before the internet, really, and before, chat forums really had become the thing. We were using, telephones and fax machines and talk radio. And we had, quite a profusion of talk radio programs that we could work with. I'm sure you've heard of Roger Fredenberg and Coast to Coast AM and
sure.
the ones like that. But local talk radio was also really, really popular. Mm-hmm. Something that it isn't now, that they've, consolidated everything, Clear Channel buying everything up. And
Clear Channel went after a lot of people back in the day.
Didn't they?
Oh, boy. I mean, a lot of people left, and eventually, Clear Channel had to go to their talent and bring them back in because, talk radio, it's almost dead. The only thing really keeping alive, unfortunately, are people like Alex Jones, this movement, and Howard Stern and Sirius XM. Other than that, there aren't any dominant terrestrial talk radio guys.
Well, yeah, you've got Limbaugh and Hannity, and
yeah, of course, those guys.
Tom Hartman and Randy Rhoads, but they're all controlled by the paradigm now.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Well, Randy Rhoads all right, so is Tom, but like you said, Tom Hartman and Jones do a simulcast, and Tom Hartman's going to tell him that global warming exists and we should pay a carbon tax.
That was pretty good. I really enjoyed that show yesterday.
I loved it. I loved it. Yeah,
but,
I listen to Tom sometimes. He's not somebody I listen to all the time, but, back in the day when I had an office desk job and I was listening to Alex in my office, I would also listen to Jerry Springer when he had his program on Air America. And, it wasn't the best, but at the same time, they talked about some pretty relevant issues. I'm very happy to see, someone like Keith Olbermann start to come around and talk about the Obama administration, especially after being so good with the Bush administration and then being a cheerleader for this false paradigm yet again.
Yeah, really. And, Olbermann, he surprises me sometimes, mm-hmm. And it's really good that he can do that because that means he's surprising other people. And when he came across the other day with the, Obama may not be any better than Bush, he may be worse, mm-hmm. That just, about floored me.
Yeah, no, it was great.
Oh, boy.
Well, that's what we need. We need honest people in mainstream media, and we have to have the alternative media grow to a point where we can reach a mainstream audience and bring more people in. We'll be back after this. It's the InfoWarrior with Jason Bermas, PrisonPlanet.tv, Infowars.com.
SurvivalistSeeds.com. You can now grow your own healthy food for just 4 pennies a pound and break free of the New World Order. You need to get self-sufficient, folks. These people are vicious. They're shutting things down. Survivalist Seeds has now drastically reduced their price on heirloom seeds to the lowest out there, survivalistseeds.com. Get 6,000 heirloom seeds for a really low price. Be sure and check it out. There's a real heirloom seed shortage right now, so people interested in growing their own healthy food need to get their heirloom seeds now and start their gardens this spring. Freedom starts with action. Survivalistseeds.com is how you survive the world economic collapse that the globalists are engineering.
Truth is never going home.
All right, folks, we are live this Thursday, April 16th. And boy, the month is really just shooting by. I'll be on my way to New York next week. We may do a program Thursday evening live from New York if I can get my equipment in order. If not, it will be a replay on Thursday and Friday, and hopefully I'll scoot, boot, and boogie back just in time for the Monday program. Otherwise, the first hour of the Monday, unless I really get stranded, will be a replay as well. I really just want to thank all you guys for supporting the InfoWarrior, sending out the links to the friends, making the blog and the show a success. And I want to thank JT Coyote for stepping up to the plate and helping us over at the forums at Prison Planet and InfoWars, because it's certainly not an easy job. We do have a lot of fans. We have a lot of people spamming. We have a lot of attackers. We have a lot of racists that try to infiltrate the forums. We have a lot of CENTCOM, CIA guys that try to parrot these other things. I mean, they're more than welcome to put their points up there if they're valid and they're genuine, but people will spam every single story with some nonsense link. And we do need to regulate that. I mean, it gets out of control. That's why sometimes we have the Secret Service in the office, folks. So, JT, how do you transition from the 10th Amendment, sovereignty, states' rights movement, and shortwave and that type of talk radio movement in the late 90s, early 2000s to today, and being a part of InfoWars and Prison Planet?
Well, it's curious because you'd never try to plot the road. You would never ever think that would be the way it would happen. But in 2001, right after, actually it was right before 9/11. I had a radio show that I was running for a friend who had been arrested in England on a firearms charge. He's one of these people that provides antique equipment for the people that you see on the History Channel that are reenacting, the Battle of Sudan, And he got arrested by Her Majesty's Customs, and all of his equipment was impounded in-house. And he had no money. He's like the rest of us, Jason. We're just eking by.
Yeah.
And so I'd made those friends in radio in the mid-'90s with the 10th Amendment thing. So I called one of them who lives very close to where you're from. He owns WXBH in Cobleskill, New York.
Oh, very cool.
And so he said, well, we're trying this new thing called streaming. And I'm going, what? And he says, yeah. He says, you can go on the internet and talk to everybody on the planet. And I said, okay, let's do it. We wanted to raise some money for James Goodwin's legal defense against the Crown for his quote-unquote firearms violation. He had sent some brass to these reenactors.
Yeah.
And so that's how I got into computers. And I found, that I had kind of an affinity for the little rascals. and with the radio show, which it ran for about 2 years, there were a total of 64 episodes. It was every Saturday afternoon for an hour from WXBH, and I was listening around, now that I'd become computer savvy, and in the fall of 2002, I came across this wild man screaming sanity from Austin, Texas. And that's when I was introduced to Alex Jones. And I had been listening to him over the internet, off and on, up until about 2005. And when Bush gave his inaugural speech on January 21st, 2005, and he openly declared with every breath that his intent was to bring in the New World Order, I became very active again, as I had been, in the mid-'90s. And I would go to chat forums and I would post 10th Amendment posts. and see if there was anybody out there who understood what the movement was all about, because we were destroyed by the Oklahoma City bombing and Morris D's and Southern Poverty Law Center. Man, I can tell you stories about those people. Make your head swim. They had literally destroyed the 10th Amendment movement, or drove us all underground. But I came out in 2005 and started posting these again. I put them up on forums like the what was it? On Ann Coulter's forum, I put them on there, and some of the people understood what it meant, some didn't.